Okay.
All right. All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. And all right. So um, it's always surprising when we reach the last session. Um, it just feels like we just started yesterday.
Hmm.
But we've been doing this now. This is obviously our fourth session, but our eighth week. Um, so time has flown, at least for me. Maybe it's been crawling by for you all, and you can't wait to get done. I don't know. Um, but whichever the case, you'll have an opportunity tonight to give some feedback by way of evaluation. So we'll do that around the break time. Um, but I want to get into our conversation so that we can do just that. We can talk and learn from one another. So let me open us in prayer, and then we'll get into our conversation. So let's pray. God, we thank you for this day that you have made, and we are rejoicing and we are glad in it. Lord, you've brought us to this point of the day, having accomplished various tasks, struggled with others, but Lord, through it all, we've walked on the pathway of your mercies, and so we thank you for that. Lord, I pray for each person that is here now in this Zoom call. Lord, I pray that you would bless their lives, that your hand would be upon their ministries, bless their families, God, keep them safe and healthy. Lord, I pray that all that we discuss tonight will draw us closer to you, that it would encourage us uh, in our callings, and that uh, it would help to make us more efficient in what we do. Lord, bless our conversation. Bless those who are yet coming into the call and those who could not be here for one reason or the other. Lord, we just surrender it all to you and ask that you would lead us. We pray it in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Well, good. So we continue in our conversation, ministry in a digital world. And now my technology is going to test me and let's see. Okay. All right. I see what I'm doing here. So we've talked about Zoom and Facebook. And then the third time we talked about Zoom and Facebook. And then we briefly, I don't think we even ever got to YouTube. Um, yeah. So, but I think there was some interest and honestly, as I'm saying that out loud, I didn't even have that in my presentation tonight. So if there's time, we can still talk about how to create a YouTube account, um, and then perhaps there'll be enough time to at least get you started there. But we had kind of made the determination though that based on where we were with the first two sessions that YouTube might have been beyond our scope. Um, so at any rate, we'll come back to that. You all help me to remember that. I do have some extra time built in at the end. But tonight we want to talk about uh, digital integration. So how do we pull all of this stuff together? Um, and as we start that conversation, I want to just share this image um, of, I'm sure, a phrase that many of us are familiar with. This one another phrase, right? So we find that phrase about 100 times in the New Testament, where uh, as disciples of Christ, we are called and directed to execute and practice these one another's. And so obviously this is just a small sample, but Jesus calls his disciples to love one another. Paul tells us to be devoted to one another, to build up one another, to care for one another. The writer of Hebrews says that we ought to stir up one another unto good works. Again, Paul says we should comfort one another, and James says that we should pray for one another. And we are so accustomed to doing a lot of these things in a particular edifice, in a building where we meet together. But obviously now, for the most part, since March, we have not been meeting together. But I believe that in God's great providence and in his sovereignty, he is still calling us to practice these one another's. And what I find as I look at this is that although we find these directives, these imperatives to practice these one another's, it tells us what to do, but there's not, in each of these examples, there is not a playbook that tells us exactly how to do it. I mean, just logistically speaking. So, Jesus doesn't say, or James doesn't say, pray for one another as you are walking down the street together, or, care for one another by calling on the telephone, right? It's this charge to exercise these fellowship disciplines among the body. And so therefore, within the realm of the spirit, we can be creative in how we execute all these things. And so just as the building was a tool for us where we did a lot of these one another's, now I believe we have the opportunity to carry these out digitally. And so, as we look at all of these tools, we have to remember that they are just those. They are tools to use to do what God has called us to do. And so, as I was thinking about tonight's presentation, I'm thinking, okay, so we need tools then that help us to do all of these one another's. Digital tools that help us to care for one another, to build up one another, to show love, to pray for one another. And again, just as the building provided a structure in which to do all of these things, so likewise can we find and identify and use, or even sometimes build structures to do these now digitally. So I want us to think through then, some of these systems that provide the integration that I'm speaking of, right? So I'm sorry, let me go back here. So just a quick little Google search for church systems or church database or church resource management. Any of those will give you all kinds of options. But here, if I click on this link, it will lead me to a page that, give me 1 second, I'll bring that up here. So this site, which is Capterra, I don't know much about them, but they've just provided their own evaluation of what they call the top 10 systems, church systems. And so you see them listed here on the left, and then you see various features across the top that each of these systems offer. And obviously then those that are most integrated will offer all of these, 7 different features. And then they tell you how these are deployed as well. So for example, Shelby Next is available as a mobile system, and it's a cloud or web-based system. And then it offers accounting integration, attendance tracking, again, built-in accounting, member directory, pledge maintenance, small group management, volunteer management, and many other things too. This is just one assessment, but I think it's a convenient one because then it'll take you directly to the website. So I believe the way that they have it listed here is these first two, Shelby and Alexio, have all 7 features clicked or checked. And then these others have, fewer and fewer as you, well, not fewer and fewer, but the rest have less than 7. So, and again, this is not nearly an exhaustive list. In fact, there's one that is not on here called Church Community Builder, which I know is a very popular one as well, especially among larger churches, but they promote themselves as being a great option regardless of what size church you have. So, and then of course on this list is Faith Life Equip, and we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. So do any of you use any of these products that are listed on this page? Okay. I'd love to know if your church currently uses a church resource management system or church database. What systems are you using now? You can unmute yourself and share it, or if you want to put it in the chat, whatever works for you.
Yeah, so I think that my daughter's church uses Simple Church. I've heard of that before. And when I worked at our church, we used Church Office Online, and that seemed to do what we needed it to do. There's also Planning Center, which maybe it's not as, our worship pastor uses that, but you can integrate members of your church. It just doesn't keep track of donations.
Got it. What was the one you said your church used?
Church Office Online.
Okay.
We've had some contact with Faith Life, and we haven't gone in that direction yet, but we've had a couple of meetings, so I don't know exactly how the pastor Selman is going to go, but we've talked to him.
Okay. Do you know what you are using then in the meantime?
Nothing.
Okay.
I mean, we got a Facebook page and then we have a web page, but it needs to be updated.
Well, even as it relates to like member directory. So, keeping a list of your members, how do you all do that? And I'm not just asking Bob, but just anybody, even if we just start there, what systems are you using for that? And a system could simply be an Excel spreadsheet, which I know some smaller churches, or I shouldn't just say smaller, but some churches are doing that.
Yeah, because we're a small church, that's basically what we're using. So we're a real small congregation. So right now we're just using, church secretary. They're using I'm not sure what they're using for offerings and stuff. They have an accounting system. Yeah, that's what we're using.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? What other systems are you using?
So we've been messing around with the Faith Life a little bit, but really haven't delved deep into it. It was a little complicated. So, and then I'm the one that's trying to figure it out. So we've been messing around with that a little bit, but typically what we've used, years ago, we had an access database where we were able to put members' names and assign a number to each member, and then be able to have a nice tracking system. But of course, the days of access database is kind of over with. Obviously some programs still use that as a foundation. So we ended up going to just an Excel workbook, and our different workbooks linked together. So I did have a guy who was a software designer over in the Detroit area. I was part of a group of churches where he was actually going to build something for us. Actually, he was working on building it. We were probably about 85% done, and then there was a rift that happened in the group, so it kind of fell apart.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Thank you for sharing that.
Well, I'm not really sure what ours used. I'm not privy to that info, but I don't think we have any of these management systems. I know that our church wanted to try Faith Life. At one point, we did have a website, but we don't have that anymore. But we do have the Facebook page, and we do use Givelify. We just started using that this year, but I think we got to get more up to date. So, but I'm pretty sure the Excel and the manual tracking of members and things like that, they probably keep somewhere on the computer, but I don't know specifically, about that.
Okay, all right, great. Well,
And I'm not, oh,
go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, Pastor Lanier, and I'm not sure what we use at Pilgrim because I don't really do any of the office work. But I know at our small youth program that I work with, we just primarily use the Microsoft products, Excel and the Excel spreadsheets for the list of the youth name and information about them. For food pantry and so forth, I put everything on Excel. So, but we're small organizations, so we don't have any of those things that you have listed.
Okay, all right, and that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Thank you all for sharing that. So Givelify. This is totally meaningless, but I just don't like that name, Givelify.
Have you heard of it before?
I've heard of it. Yes, they have a number of different platforms. I know what they're doing. It's a derivative of the word simplify, right? So they're simplifying giving, and I think the system works great. But I wish the name was better. So there you go.
And I was looking at that other name that I read it wrong at first. I thought it said Blackball Church, but
is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know how you pronounce it.
Blackballed? I don't know.
Yeah. So, Pastor Gaddis, what you said about Faith Life doesn't surprise me. That's actually been our experience too. And Bob, I think you mentioned it too, that you all have kind of looked into it, but haven't fully adopted it. So, and that's where we are. So I'll talk about some of those reasons. But so I'm going to share this PowerPoint with you. And Dorothy, I just saw today that you wanted the PowerPoint version. Last time I just sent you the PDF, but I'll send you the PowerPoint, which will include the previous slides as well as the ones from tonight. And I would just encourage you all to, do your own investigation of these systems. Their benefit is that they pull all of these things together for you. That's the simple way of describing it. But if we were to click on Shelby Next. So at New Hope, we used Shelby when I was executive pastor there. And this was back in the old days. So it was before, well, we were still using the desktop system. So it was not the web-based system. They had it available, but we hadn't converted yet. But I can just tell you that the web-based system the desktop system worked great for us in terms of, again, the church database, just keeping everyone's information there, keeping all of the giving information there. It allowed us to in a very easy way to send out giving reports. And we did that electronically for the most part. So, as the gifts came in on on Monday morning, the secretary would enter those, and then, we could easily produce those reports. So we sent out 3 reports a year at the middle of the year. So at the end of June, we'd send out a contribution report, which allowed people an opportunity to see where they were in their giving, and get caught up if they needed to. But it also gave us an opportunity to catch any errors that may have been made. And we would catch, 2 or 3 almost every time. And obviously it was a way of nudging people on towards giving as well. So we did it in June, we did it at the end of September, and then at the end of the year. And so, we would, anybody who had an email address, if they gave a penny, we would email them their contribution report. If and we did a cutoff. So if they wanted a printed report, they could get one mailed to them, but it was only if you had given $100 or more. And then if you gave less than that, if you wanted to print the report, you still could get it. You just needed to request it and come into the office. So I'm diving probably more deeply into the woods than I need to, but that was just an example of how this integrated system allowed us to move efficiently, right? Everything was internal, and it was a matter of just, clicking a few buttons and learning how to navigate within the system. We actually, at that time, when we first adopted Shelby, their training team came on site. They came up from Tennessee and spent 3 days, I believe it was, doing a training. So that was crucial for us as well. So I'm saying all that just to say that, although I don't use this currently, I'm confident that their online system would work just as well and probably even better than the desktop system. And you see what they're promoting here is that it engages current and new members with simplicity. It nurtures existing relationships effectively, and it fosters growth and community involvement. So, and just looking at this one, it says in the middle here, whether you're managing members and groups, tracking interactions, recording attendance, or sending messages, we have you covered. And so those are a lot of those things that help us to do the one another's, helping keep people connected to one another, so that we can carry out what it means to be the church. So, and then again, within the products here, you see all these things that are available to you, from online giving to church websites, to worship planning. All of that is available. We would use it to do our church calendar and to manage our facility. So if people wanted to check out rooms, all of that was integrated. So obviously that depends on what the needs are for your church.
I got a question,
Please.
kind of a comment too. I mean, I have been in church so long, all of my life, but I never knew nothing about none of these kind of management systems. And maybe because I wasn't in, working in that aspect of the church as a secretary or whatever. But I'm just wondering why or how the churches come to seek this type of information, or just hear about it. Does someone in the church have to have some kind of familiarity with these systems, or some kind of knowledge, or you know what I'm saying, to bring the idea forth so that the church can use this stuff? Because I mean, I've been in churches, and the churches that I only been to about 3 churches in my life, but I've never known anything about this stuff. And the churches that I've been in have been small churches. Brown Hutchinson probably is the biggest church I've ever been to, maybe the second biggest. But it's like, I'm sure the bigger type congregations probably are more in tune to this type of stuff than the smaller churches are. So I guess, I'm just curious. Church management says, I mean, it's awesome. I love it, but I just never really knew anything about this stuff.
Yeah. So Was somebody else going to say something? Okay. Well, I will tell you that my home church in Flint, um, when I moved here in 1999, um, they did not have a computer. Um, Everything was done on a typewriter. Um, and until my pastor went to be with the Lord in, uh, what year was that? I should know off the tip of my tongue, but it was a 2000, about 2008, I believe. Uh, Still until that time, they still did not have a computer. Everything was on a typewriter. So because he was old school, right? And the secretary was old school, and most of the church was old school. Now the great thing is that they kept meticulous records, and he was all about good stewardship. So so the systems, to your point, I think, Dorothy, the systems reflected the leadership and the staff of the church. I think that tends to be the case. So for me, I also was not familiar with any sort of, modern computerized systems until I came to Grand Rapids and went to seminary, and then, was on staff at a church with people with different experiences, and people who had rubbed shoulders and rubbed elbows with other folks who had been exposed to these systems. And then it's like, oh wow, there's a whole world of resources out there that churches could be using, if we even just take the time to ask about them and learn about them. So that has been my experience. Yeah, is that the systems reflect the leadership, um, and I think that, now I think also, just depending on the size of the church. So if you've got uh, thousands of members, it's going to be nearly impossible to be efficient with managing that list of members, unless you have some sort of computerized system. Um, and so, to some degree, the growth and care of your church is going to also depend on how efficient you are with the management of that data. Um, so again, an old school typewriter only church, um, probably couldn't grow too much larger than about 200 people. Once you start getting beyond that, you've got to be a little bit more efficient. So what has been other people's experience? How have you become exposed to these systems? Go ahead, Bob. I saw your hand.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. Even a small church, somebody, probably because I went to seminary and things, was exposed to them. But even with a small church, it's going to take somebody that's willing to operate these systems. Otherwise, it usually falls on the pastor, and then that's too much for him. So that's why a lot of these systems never get going in a lot of the smaller churches.
Yep,
It takes a team of people to put together these systems and to operate these systems. And oftentimes that's what's lacking in a lot of the churches.
Yeah,
My oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just was agreeing with Bobby, so that's true.
yeah.
Near, are the systems quite expensive, or are you gonna talk to us about that?
Yeah, great point. So let's look at that. I hadn't looked at the cost on most of these, but and well, we'll see. We'll see what this
Okay.
says here.
All right.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Yeah,
Dr.
while
Gaddis.
you're looking at the price, my experience, actually, when I came to the church, or to come to leadership in the church, I went to a workshop, Michael Chiklis, Church Smart, and he had all the software and all these different things there that was available. And for me personally, because I pastor a smaller congregation, but I'm also bivocational, I knew that I needed things quickly at my grasp. I didn't have office staff and all those things, so I needed things at my grasp. And so as a result, I started building those databases so that I could quickly communicate and get information out to churches. So later in years, when the person was putting together that system for us, I just sent him all those different, databases and, workbooks, and then he took that and started building it. So I think that there's application, not just for larger churches, but the busy pastor in the small church really needs these tools to be able to get messages out quickly to people, and, where you don't have staff.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. So, yeah, and Bob, to your point, as you said, there has to be, well, in many cases, that pastor or the team of pastors really relies on a team of other people to master these systems. It reminds me of Acts chapter 6, right, where the deacons were called to correspond with the members and to identify and to meet their needs. And again, these systems just become some tools that help us to do that, so that those who are responsible for prayer and for the word can focus on those responsibilities. So on the Shelby site, it didn't give pricing. You see, they're encouraging you to call their sales department. A lot of times they're going to customize a package for you depending on which of the features you request. On this Alexio site, they have pricing right there available. And so it says here, if your church has one person, it's $35 a month. If you increase it to, let's go to 50 people.
Yes.
50 people, it's about $41 a month. Go to 100 people, you're at about $48 a month. So just to give you an idea.
Like that's helpful.
Yeah. So, $48 a month is $576 a year. And so most of these systems, again, are, online, web-based. And so it's a subscription rather than, you're purchasing a software to put on your computer. I'm sure there are those out there as well, but like most other things, these systems are going web-based. Okay, so Faith Life. Let's talk a little bit about Faith Life. Obviously, I think everyone on this call knows that we have access to Faith Life through the center. And all you need to do is sign up and request it. And you can use all of the Faith Life equipped system. But as I said to you before, with Journey Church, Doretha and I, we've had our own conversations about Faith Life, right? And let me see. I can just tell you that as others have said, it's been challenging. It's been tough to really understand it all and to integrate it and to make it work for us. So here's the plus. Some of the pluses of Faith Life is that it's a social media like platform. So it's designed to pretty much replace Facebook, right? So all of the interactions, even the way that it lays out on your screen, it looks a lot like Facebook, right? That's intentional because as we've been talking with them, they're saying that that's how, billions of people are already communicating. They're familiar with that sort of a platform. So that's a good thing, is that it's user friendly in that regard. it also replaces, not only does it replace Facebook in its sort of user system and interface, but it's also like a private Facebook, right? So if you're like me, one of the best things I think on Facebook is using groups, right? So with my mother's family, we have a group that's just for us. So we can talk about our family reunion. We've had 2 deaths in the family over the last week. So we've been sharing information about that and prayer and all of those things. And that's not stuff you just want to do wide open on your Facebook page for the world to see. So Faith Life, that's one thing I do like about it, is that it provides you that same sort of social platform, but it's in a private sort of setting. It's not for any and everybody to see. The other thing is, so there are no ads either, right? So on Facebook, as I hear a pastor talking about frequently, if you go search something on your computer, if you search a pair of shoes on Macy's, when you go to Facebook, those shoes are going to follow you there. And when you check in, when you go back into it the next couple of days, you're going to keep seeing those shoes. And as he says, it's almost like God is telling you to buy these shoes, but it's not God, it's the algorithm, right? It's following you. So again, Faith Life provides you an opportunity to have that sort of exchange without ads. And welcome, Pastor Theta.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Good to see
Good
you.
to see you.
And obviously, as we've said right up front, all of these things, all these different features are integrated, right? So when you sign your church up, of course, it's up to you how many of these pieces you use. But if you see here, on the church side, so this is sort of the administrative side. There's Faith Life, which again, it fosters community and discipleship online. And then there's Faith Life sites. So it will, they have templates that will basically build a website for you, right? So you upload your logo, and you select which template you like, and it's going to build that site for you. There's Faith Life Proclaim that helps you to build, as it says, stress-free worship presentations. So instead of PowerPoint, this is where you would do your scriptures. If you want to do your announcements there, you would do that under Faith Life Proclaim. There's a Faith Life Sermon. So this is where you would put your sermons online. So there'd be a place on your website where people can see that. Or if they sign into your Faith Life page, they can see your sermons there. There's this Faith Life TV church, and it says movies and teaching for your whole church. I can tell you that that's actually a pretty cool feature. So week before last, so we've been doing a series on forgiveness, and most of the people participating have been adults, but we have my 2 kids have also been participating. And last week we had a guest, and I knew he'd be diving a little bit more deeply into the topic, would probably bore them. So I actually signed up for Faith Life TV Church. I found an animated show that was about 22 minutes, and it was on the subject of forgiveness. And so we do all of our study in Zoom. So we in the main room in Zoom, we had our guest, and I created a breakout room for our kids and had the TV show to show in that room. They've got hundreds, if not thousands, of resources that you can view on Faith Life TV. So that's pretty cool. And then of course there's Faith Life live stream. So that allows you to do live streaming of your service. And then on the individual side, there are all these ways where you can, again, connect with the members of your church. So there's Logos Bible software, again, the TV, there are ebooks, there's a study Bible. So those are items that again, keep your members connected. So it's a great idea, but again, what we have found is, yes, Linda, the name of my church is Journey Church. So what we have found is that it's not as intuitive as we would like it to be to use Faith Life. So, we have used, as I mentioned, the Faith Life TV. We do use Faith Life Giving. So that's how we do our electronic giving. And it is really simple. That was easy to set up. So I do like that. They have great potential in their people platform. So that's in your database where you're keeping all of your member data saved. So there's a way for pastors and other church leaders to go in, and every time you have an interaction with the member, you can record that there. You connect families there. You keep track of birth dates, other important dates. So I do like how that's set up. We're still not using it to its fullest, but we do keep some data there. And as we have worked with our Faith Life representative, what she told us in a recent meeting is, because she's a pastor as well, and she said what she wished she would have done would have been to master the administrative side of Faith Life first, and then rolled it out and introduced it to her members. And that's exactly what we're feeling right now, is that, we started learning it. We said, okay, let's go ahead and share it with people. So we started sending out the Faith Life invitations. People were getting it and they're like, wait a minute, what is this? And how am I supposed to use it? And we were like, I don't know, but just use it. So if we were doing it again, we would certainly, if we were starting from scratch, we would use that wisdom that her name is that An shared with us. And I would even recommend doing those steps with a pilot group of your leaders. So mastering the administrative side first, and then when you roll it out with a group of a small group. It doesn't just have to be your leaders, but whomever. I would just say with a sample size of your membership. And then once you have become familiar enough, then roll it out with your other members. Some of the major brick walls that we ran into with Faith Life is, as I mentioned, it's not intuitive to use. It's a high learning curve. But secondly, particularly with their communication tools, they cannot be automated. So I couldn't go in tonight, create an email, and schedule that email to be sent out, Saturday at 6 o'clock as a reminder for Sunday's worship. If I want to send out that email at 6 o'clock on Saturday, I've got to be in front of my computer and hitting send in order for that to work. The same with a text message. If I want to send that out, I've got to do that live. I can't just schedule it and make that happen. For me, that's almost a deal breaker, at least for that platform. It's like, why do I even want to use a digital system that won't do something that simple automatically? And we told them that too, that look, you all got to figure that out. Otherwise, I don't even know if we're going to really use this. So, again, I'm not going to totally discount the system. There are a lot of good things about it. But for me, those were troubling. It was troubling that those pieces were missing. Let me stop talking for a minute to see, what have you found, those of you who have, cracked Faith Life open, what have you found that you like about it, and what don't you like about it?
There are tons of tools in it. I mean, and maybe even too much. There's a lot in there, which I do appreciate, especially the integration with Bible study, the Logos material, all of that. I think that's all awesome. But I was having trouble setting up, I think it was like different groups. It was administratively heavy for me. So, and then again, some of the things weren't as intuitive. I had to really go back, try and figure some stuff out. And I was thinking, man, I should be able to figure this out. So I thought it was me.
It is not you, my brother. It is not you.
I
We
agree
were
with
looking at it for just given, that's what we're looking at it for now, but we looked at some of the other things. I actually like Right Now Media as opposed to their Faith Life TV. I thought Right Now Media was quite a bit better, but like you said, they had a lot of things, but as a small church, it really wasn't fitting us. And so
Okay.
Pastor Selman, I think he's just weighing it right now.
Yep. Okay, good. Pastor Theta, you were saying?
Um, well, I agree with everything everyone else has said. We were so excited being a smaller church and just thinking, oh my God, everything in one place. And they have a plethora of training videos, but what I found was they weren't interconnected and their customer service was horrible. The person we had, like you, the person that we dealt with on a daily basis that kept connected with us was so friendly and upbeat and just warm and welcoming. Those people need bonuses. But when you actually needed to get to the technical side or how to connect all the admin pieces together, they're very fragmented. And people were like, well, did you watch the video? Well, if I hadn't watched the video, Precious, I wouldn't be calling you. So so I really you want to, I don't want to be ungrateful and to be thankful unto Urban Core leadership for this package. We were so excited and so hopeful about it. We went ahead and paid an extra year. So but our live platform never worked. And we kept calling and telling them, oh yeah, it's a glitch in this, it was a glitch in that. Yeah, oh, it's your fault, it's user error. So we correct the user error. I paid a consultant for whose job is to, I'm not complaining, I'm just explaining, as my mother would say, but whose job is technology. And he's like, I do this for a living. And our video. So yeah, and like you, I did roll it out to my congregation for the giving aspect, but then it wasn't compatible to everybody's phone. It wasn't compatible to everybody, could not get the system to work for them. So I'm still using two platforms for giving because, once you frustrate somebody on their giving, then, we are, hallelujah, we're not that church yet that doesn't need the prayers of the righteous and the giving of the saints. So amen. So, but I'll shut up now. But it really has lots of potential, but you need a genius to figure it out. And I'm not that smart. So
I feel like we should have a collection right now for Pastor Theta. No, that was great. Yes, everything that you said. So yeah, and Doretha and I, we've, and I'm sure others have as well, but we kind of told them about themselves in a very friendly way too. But just we said a lot of what you said. Like we love the potentiality of this system. It's obvious that there's a lot of work has gone into this, not just thought, but they have done a lot of work, but there's still a lot of work to do. And so I don't think we should spend too much more time there because I think we all are on the same page. Yeah, and so yeah, Linda is saying it's helpful to hear our thoughts on faith life. Yeah, yeah, I think so. We probably should consider, or the center may want to consider, is there another platform that they could provide that people would be more willing to use? So I don't know if that's really for us to talk about tonight, but
or Pastor Lanier, may I make another suggestion?
of course.
If someone from if they would invest in someone from the Urban Core or someone to get trained on 3 good pieces that we all could use, and they train us.
Yeah.
Like you said, data collection, the giving, and the TV. If someone could get trained on 3 or 4 of their good pieces that would be universally used by us, and we go through that training as opposed to that would be a recommendation as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great recommendation. And you know, like I said, for me, I would love to do that. The only thing that gives me pause about that is for me to know that you can't automate your communications. It's still a deal breaker for me, right? Like yeah, I'd be willing to learn and to do some of those trainings, but um, you know, if it's not going to automate your emails and your text messages, I'm still going to be recommending something else to you, and you know, so which I'm going to do tonight to give you some other solutions to those pieces. But I've talked way too long for this portion. I want to. We need to take a break, and then when we come back, I'm going to get into introducing you to some other systems where you can maybe even kind of customize your communications and your access to some other resources, some free resources for you too, that are worth quite a bit of money. So why don't we take a 5-minute break, and then we come back. Dorothy, you want to do the evaluation right here, right? Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
just a short evaluation from those of you who have been coming to the different ones that we've had, the different sessions, YouTube, Facebook. So just 3 to 4 questions, and we want to do the poll after the break real quick through the
Okay.
Zoom.
So I've got 7:29 on my computer. So if we come back at 7:34, that would be great.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Resources with you, and this is just all from my experience, some little tips and strategies that I've used. And so this first one is a website called TechSoup. How many of you have ever heard of TechSoup? All right, Linda. All right, Pastor Theta. Anybody else? Okay. TechSoup is one of the best kept secrets out there, but it's a great resource. And so I'm actually going to go to the page here, but you see it says, is your nonprofit a TechSoup member yet? And then down below, you can't read all of it, but it says TechSoup is a 501c3 nonprofit social enterprise. We help more than 230,000 other nonprofits, libraries, and charities to find the technology to accomplish their mission. You must be a TechSoup member to access our offers. And so I do have a TechSoup membership. And so when you sign up, you get access to all sorts of technology resources. Let me change the screen share here. So you see here, for example, Microsoft Office 2019 is $39. I was trying to see, they had I'm sorry, I had this up here earlier. They had a summary of some of their most popular resources. And of course, it is not showing now. But you can, all right, let me click the product catalog here. Okay, so here it is. So you see, here's some of their favorites. So you can access Microsoft Office, Adobe Acrobat, which you can use to create PDFs. You can use it to edit graphic design, documents, Windows 10, Intuit QuickBooks, which is a huge one in my opinion. So for my nonprofit organization, we use QuickBooks. We had been paying $70 a month for QuickBooks Pro online. And through TechSoup, we were able to get it for free. So that's $840 a month savings for our nonprofit. You can also buy hardware. So for those of Linda and Pastor Theta, how have you used it?
We've used it for QuickBooks as well and Adobe Acrobat. Some of these programs, though, if you're already using it, like we already had a membership to Dropbox, we couldn't partake with TechSoup. And so I was a bit saddened. I don't recall what it costs to be a member, though. Is there really any fee to be a member? Don't you just submit some paperwork to support that you're a nonprofit?
Yes. So I think when we signed up, there was I think a $75 fee.
Okay.
But on this PowerPoint that I was sharing with you, they were saying that it was free to sign up. So I don't know if they've reduced that or lowered that cost due to COVID or what. But
they also have a lot of trainings for free on various topics, or heavily discounted.
Yep.
And so you might want to look into that as well.
Absolutely. So so you can see those here, some resources here, articles and how-tos. So another way that that articles didn't come up. Another way that I've used it is to access Canva, which I'll talk about in a moment too. That's a graphic design website that we use quite a bit. So yeah, here's some trainings that are either free or reduced price. So TechSoup, check it out, sign up, and take advantage of those resources. Okay, we already did break. So another resource that I believe you can access through TechSoup is Constant Contact. And that's probably a name that more of you are familiar with. So have you all heard of Constant Contact? Okay. Linda, did you say no?
I have never used it or heard of it, so I'm curious.
Oh, okay. Really? That surprises me. So, but Constant Contact is just, it's an email, it's an e-blast system, right?
Okay.
So as you can use it to send out weekly or monthly, or even, special emails to all of your membership. And so it's very simple to use. So if you have an Excel spreadsheet of all of your members, you can import that system into Constant Contact and create a group. So if you want to call all of those people ABC Baptist Church members, then when you create an email, you select that group and you can send it to those members.
I know that we do have some kind of email system. I don't know what it is because we get the mass emails, and then I know we do use robocalls. If I want to do a call to everybody, we do that. I've used that before at the church to send out an announcement. But I do know they have some kind of email contact system. I don't know what it is though.
Absolutely. Yep. So so Constant Contact, it's just one of many. There's also MailChimp, which is another popular one. So again, I highly recommend Constant Contact. So let me share with you. Oh, okay. So this next one here is the texting platform that I use. It's called Easy Texting. Can you all see that on the screen right now? You can't. So Easy Texting, easytexting.com. So this is my dashboard here. You see over here to the left, So you can do drip campaigns, which means, so a lot of retail companies will use drip campaigns, which means we'll periodically send out a message to their customer base, depending on how that customer uses them. So if a customer hasn't been in the store for over 30 days, then the system will automatically send out a message to them. So reminders, recurring text messages. You can do polls and voting, and again, it has a lot of templates for you. That So again, you don't have to start from scratch. It will do some of the graphic design work for you. Here's another thing that I really like about it is that there's an inbox. So with Faith Life, you can send out text messages. And one thing that I like about that is that they actually assign, I'm talking about Faith Life now, they will assign you a phone number to your church. Text messages go out from that phone number. So now, anytime people receive a message from that number, they know, okay, this is from Journey Church. The bad part about it is they can't respond to that text message. So even though that number is assigned to you, if somebody responds, it goes into a black hole in cyberspace.
So Dallas.
Yes.
So this one, the one you had before was the email. So this is a texting one. So these are two separate things. Do they have one where you could do the email and the texting that's all in one place? I know we do, we get the mass text too. So I don't know what texting program they use, but I was just wondering if they have a platform where you can do it all on one platform.
So that's a great question. And I'm sure that the answer is yes. I don't know which ones do that though. I think, trying to go to Constant Contact here, I thought that they offered that, but I'm not certain about that. In fact, now that I think about it, I know that Constant Contact, you can actually integrate with easy texting, but they don't allow you to send one message out that'll go to both systems. It'll integrate your contacts. So if you have contact, if you set up all of your contacts in Constant Contact, you integrate it with easy texting, then those same people will show up in there as well.
Is there a fee for either of those programs, Constant Contact or Easy Texting?
Yes, so there is. So easy texting, there are different plans. So you can purchase as you go, or you can purchase a monthly plan.
Now, are these specifically for churches or nonprofit? These ones you're showing, or can individuals use these systems?
Yeah, these are for anyone. Yeah, okay. Individuals, businesses, and I was going to double check here. I'm sorry, I should have done this already, but I want to see if Constant Contact is available through TechSoup. I think it is. Give me 1 second here. You were talking about, while I'm looking this up, Linda, you were saying that because you already had subscription to Dropbox, yeah, that you couldn't get the free one through TechSoup. So we were able to convert from our paid QuickBooks system to a free one through TechSoup, but I can tell you that it was a nightmare to do that integration, because we had to go from online to QuickBooks desktop and then upload it again to another online system. And we've been working on it literally for weeks with an accountant who's helping us, and it's still not completely finished. So, I would just caution you to be careful with that. If anybody's going to make that transition, I'd be happy to talk with you individually to tell you what we've learned. But if you're starting from scratch, you shouldn't experience that problem. All right, I'm not seeing Constant Contact in TechSoup. I thought that was available there, but they do have nonprofit pricing though. And So what are you all seeing on the screen right now?
Easy texting dashboard.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So here is, my Zoom is doing something weird. Okay. I want to share this constant contact screen so you can see the pricing. So here's constant contact, a couple of their pricing plans. So there's email plus, $20 a month or $45 a month. And so you see some of the additional features through the email plus, customizable forms, surveys, RSVPs. You know, we have a event planning business too, so we use the email plus because you can actually create a whole event and do registration through constant contact, and that actually works really well. So it's another alternative to Eventbrite. Um, so it's $45 a month, regular price. If you go all the way down here at the bottom, do you offer any discounts for nonprofits? Absolutely, we offer a 20% 6-month prepaid discount and a 30% prepaid discount for 12 months. There is no discount for a monthly term. So again, you know, for you to assess size of your congregation and whether that works for you. But so instead of Faith Life, when I'm sending out an email, we use constant contact. And then conversely, or also instead of Faith Life, we use easy texting because it is exactly as the name implies. It is easy to create and send those text messages.
I got a question,
Yes.
and I'm just thinking about all this stuff, which I love all of these things. But now, you know, when it comes to putting people information, is there any kind of privacy type things that are in place? And then my other second part to that, because the information is being gathered, I don't know specifically how some of these work, but when you're putting information in there on members, and you know the privacy is important, but is it important for people to the congregation to really know how their information is being stored in the church, or is that something that's the congregation don't really, I mean, I don't know if anybody really cares about it. I've never really thought about it before, but I'm just thinking about privacy and how much, because some people are private about their information, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so we we haven't had an issue yet. I'll tell you that to your first question, yes, all of these systems, definitely constant contact and easy texting, have very, you know, they have high security measures in place. Um, they don't sell your information to third parties. Another great thing is that if you entered information for a member, if they receive an email, for example, from Constant Contact, they have the option of opting out. So then their name is removed, and you don't have to do anything, you know. So even if you have them saved in your group as a church member, when you send another email message out to that group, they won't get it because they've opted out. So, and the same with the text messaging as well. They can opt out of those groups. So security measures are in place. That's a great question about, you know, do people, one thing we haven't done, we haven't asked people's permission to, well, let me say it this way. Yeah, we have. Yeah, so we have asked. We don't have a formal process in place where people are signing up to say, yes, you have my permission to send out mass emails or text messages. I can tell you though, that as we grow and as we have informal correspondence with people, we're saying, hey, can I add you to our contact list, and they tell us yes, and then that's when we put them on the list. So if I'm, in a Facebook inbox message with someone, I'll ask that question, or even as we've done tonight, you all have asked for that contact or our invitations. So at some level, we're getting some kind of permission, even though we've not formalized that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, because I know with our church, we were asked to fill out a card to put our information on if we wanted to receive the robocalls or we weren't asked about text messages, but the robocalls, the congregation was given a card to fill out so they could have our contact information. And so I guess that's like if people turn them in, I guess that's giving permission.
Yep.
And
Yep.
another issue that has come up is about putting people pictures on Facebook, because it's like everybody take pictures and put them on Facebook all the time now and without asking people permission. And I'm especially when it comes to church stuff, and I've known some people in our church that highly got mad because people took their picture and that next thing you know, they were on Facebook. And they were like, I didn't give nobody permission, I mean, I tell my husband a lot of times he want to take pictures. I said, don't put me, I mean, don't put everything on Facebook is basically what I'm telling. He'll put something, but I'm like, please don't put that on Facebook. So Facebook has become where people just freely take other people's picture and just put it on there. I remember one time I told somebody they were on Facebook. They were like, who told them to put me on Facebook? So it's just like, when it comes to things like that, in this day and age with fraud and all this kind of stuff that's going on, it's just a more heightened awareness for me to how much information I'm really sharing and giving out.
Yes, absolutely. And so, when churches were meeting in person, a lot of churches would have a posted disclosure to say, or disclaimer to say, we live stream, or we may take pictures and post on our, digital platforms. So that's one way to handle that there. And I'm very sensitive about that as well. And I think honestly, Linda, that's probably some of the reason that we've been slow about live streaming and going on social media, is because right now I'm just really careful about what is going public. So I echo that concern. And yeah, with the pictures. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is when our children were involved in some church summer programming, there was a form that, parents would receive asking, do you want your children, to be, for the images to be published? And most years we said no. So, I don't know what people are doing, quite frankly, to monitor and manage that now that, almost everything is digital. But I can tell you that personally, yeah, it disturbs me sometimes the amount of stuff that happens within a church that ends up on social media. Like there are a lot of funny videos that are out there that happen in a church setting. And quite honestly, I laugh at some of them, but then as soon as I'm done laughing, I'm like, but that shouldn't have even been public. Like people shouldn't have even seen this embarrassing moment or this funny moment, because that was, family business, as it were. So yes, that's worth being cautious about.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
In the past, we used to have a form, like you said, for summer programs, vacation Bible school, 5-day clubs, that we would give parents, even in our children's church, we had a form if they want their picture on the wall or any kind of way. But like you said, now you're not seeing that as much. And then one of the issues that because we are such an older congregation, one of the issues we did have, that people did have with Faith Life when they were going to sign up for the giving, was that whole Social Security thing.
Right.
number. And so a lot of people are, particularly older people, but everybody are really skeptical about what's going on these platforms.
That's a great point. Great point. So I wanted to just show you all, how we use constant contact and easy texting. So this flyer that you see here um, is a flyer that we created and sent out by way of this one. I think this particular one was, well, we sent this out by email and text. Um, and so just kind of letting people know what was happening in these particular weeks in the month of November. And then this was a shorter version that we sent out for a subsequent Sunday. Um, and I want to show you.
Those are nice. I like your colors, the black and red. This is sharp, Dallas. You go ahead.
Well, thank you. We still got a long way to go, but you know, we're adding things little by little. So I wanted to show you within easy texting. I won't walk through the whole process, but just kind of let you see. Um, so when you're creating a text message to send out, this is something I really like here. It shows you a preview of it, of
Hmm,
exactly how it's going to look on somebody's phone.
that's nice.
Um, and so, like the name implies, it is a really easy system to use. Um, so, oh, okay. So the other thing I want to show you, sorry, stuttering there. Let me go back to my PowerPoint here. So we created that flyer on Canva, um, which is this graphic design website. And so on TechSoup, we signed up for Canva, for a Canva subscription, and um, so that's where I created that design. And
That looks
Canva,
nice. Canva is nice. I started using it. One of the students at when I was doing mentoring the class, she was like, I'll send an email out and say, and was sharing with the other students to use Canva for presentations. And I looked that up, like, okay, this is nice.
mhm, yep, yeah, and actually the PowerPoint that I've been using with the blue background and all of that, even the one um, with the images of the people in the background, and I had the one another's. I started creating that on Canva as well. Um, so Canva is really, I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve depending on how familiar you are with these types of systems,
Hmm.
um, but they have a lot of design, a lot of templates that really help you to make it easy. So if you want, again, you can create a flyer, you can create a social media post, business cards, photo collage.
I think
Uh,
you can do websites on there too.
I think you're right. Yeah, yep. I've not done that, but you see resumes, T-shirts. I mean, you can do all sorts of things here. Um, so I was just gonna, yeah. So if you click on a flyer, for example, then it'll bring up all of these templates over here on your left. You can search for a template. So this is, so since I clicked flyer, it remembers, my recently used flyer. So that's the one that I started with, the
Hmm.
one that you saw tonight.
Okay.
But, if you wanted to search for church, so these are all kinds of templates that other, that they're graphic designers created. I think some of these might actually even be real flyers that churches created, and you know, now you can use them as a template. I don't know how they do that, but I believe that's part of what's available for you there.
In Dallas, what I'm just looking on their website for nonprofits, it's free. If you
Okay,
register your nonprofit and it says apply today, you get the Canva Pro for
right.
free.
Okay, I was thinking that we had applied for that through TechSoup, but maybe it was just directly on the website. Um, but one of the things that I love though is the photos. They have
Mm.
thousands and thousands of photos of all different kinds, and so you can search for whatever you're looking for. Um, so you know, you can search for church people, and there's all kinds of things that pop up, and then you pull that over, it sets it, well, it just drops it in there. But if I right click this and say replace background, then boom, now that's the background to the flyer that I'm creating. If I click on that image and click on this little transparency button here, I can fade that out so that it goes more into the background. And then if I add, so here's some things that I've uploaded. So if I want to, drop in our church logo, now that's there. I want to add a text box.
Did you create your logo on Canva?
I did not actually outsource that to a professional graphic designer.
Okay.
Who did that for us. But you can create a logo on here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Played around with it a little bit. I just never was quite satisfied with it. So I went with somebody who really knew what they were doing. Now I have actually a family member who uses another resource called Fiverr.
Fiber?
Yes, let me tell you how to spell that. One second. It's kind of weird.
Don't Not like Fiber fiber.
No, it's actually Fiverr. So it's Fiverr, like the number five.
V as in Victor.
Yes,
Fiber. Fiv
ERR.
Fiber. Okay.
Yeah. So there are graphic designers there that will create a logo for you, um, all sorts of things. And sometimes it's really inexpensive. Like you can get a really simple logo for like $5, a
What?
little bit more, yeah, $20, $25.
Hmm.
I tried them. I still wasn't quite satisfied with them, but plenty of people use them. And my sister who uses them, she's been quite pleased. Uh,
Okay.
so, so anyway, so this, Canva, again, I like it. And then after you create a design, another thing that I like is, so this is a flyer. If I want to now apply this to a different, oh, here it is. So if I resize, now, if I want this to be a Facebook post or a Facebook cover, it's going to automatically change the, it's not allowing me to do it. Well, normally it'll automatically change to, here we go. It'll change the dimensions for you, but keep the elements that you've already. So now I've switched it to Facebook cover. So it kept that same background, my logo's in there, and the text box that I've dropped in here. So you can do multiple things, right? With the same, once you've kind of designed that first, created that first design.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas, how do you take that and put it like into a PowerPoint, or do you use this as your PowerPoint platform?
Yep, great question. So you can do either. So if you click up here, the right box, the little three dots rather to the right, you can download it. Well, since this is not a presentation template,
Sure.
it doesn't. I don't think it allows me to download it as a PowerPoint. But you can present. right here from Canva.
Okay.
I've done that. I've created a whole presentation for our Bible study and presented right from the website, and it works pretty well.
Can you like save that on your computer
Mhm.
and then put it into a PowerPoint if you want to use it in
Do
a
that as
PowerPoint?
well. Yes, absolutely. Yep. So now I'm going to resize it as a presentation. I copy and resize.
I think we could have a whole session just on this.
I know, right? I love it. I've been diddling and dabbling in a little bit, but it's a lot I still really don't know.
So
Well,
now,
2 weeks
since
from
this,
now.
Yeah.
since this is a presentation template, now when I click the little three dots, one of the options is Microsoft PowerPoint.
Oh,
Cool.
So, or I think if I click the little download here, I don't know why the PowerPoint didn't come up as an option there. But anyway, if you do it here, click PowerPoint, download your design as a Microsoft PowerPoint document.
Oh wow.
cool.
Okay.
This was worth the money, just this.
Yep.
Are
Yeah.
they expensive? Because I know they have the free. I have the free version, which I know you're not. You don't have all the features on there. Do they have a cost on there? Like if you want to get more features,
Well, they do have a free, probably a basic from what I read here, but
like
I
a
would
pro or
I would think that you could, through the center, have access to it using the center's nonprofit status.
really?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yes, I've been very pleased with this, and I highly recommend it. I agree with you, Linda. This is worth the price of admission right here.
That's not. Can you see if they got the website thing on there? I think you can do a website with that Canva.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me go back to it and see templates.
Oh, there it is under business.
There you go. Website.
Oh, okay. So they have different templates that you can use.
Hmm.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So let's see. If we were to search websites church,
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
so then here are some that are already there.
Hmm.
That's beautiful. And you can change the pictures and however you want to do it.
Yep. Yeah, this one looks like this one is for a church event. Um, let's see. This one may be, oh, no, that's just a
This.
business card.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you get the picture. There's
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of templates. All right, what other questions do you have? That's I just kind of want to expose you to this. Like you said, Linda, we could spend more time, actually learning how to use it, but I really wanted to just more expose you to it and let you know that, as you might expect, a lot of these things have teaching tools built right into it, right? So here on Canva, you click the little learn button and then it'll walk you through getting started, designing, doing social media marketing, graphic design basics, branding your business. All of that is built right into it. So um,
Cool.
so questions about anything that we've talked about so far tonight? Okay. Um, YouTube, we were going to scratch that surface. In order to create a YouTube account, you have to have a Gmail account. So if If you already have a Gmail account, you have access to a YouTube account. If you don't have a Gmail account, then you'll need to, you can start from scratch within YouTube, but it'll create a Gmail account for you as well.
Hmm.
Let's see. And I'm trying, since I'm already in mine, I'm trying to, okay, so if I sign out, that's what I need to do. I don't know what's going to pop up here on YouTube. So be ye warned.
Can you have more than one YouTube account? I mean, people have different Gmails, so I guess you could.
Yeah, in fact, you see here, yeah, so we've got a joint one, my wife and me. Here's one of my own. Yeah, so if I click, use another account, then you right down here, there's one called create account for myself or to manage my business. If you're doing one for your church, you might click to manage my business. And then they're going to ask you for your personal information. And then, so you're creating a Google account. And actually, I didn't realize this. It says, so it looks like you can enter your own email address that you may already have, or you can create a new Gmail address instead. Then, of course, you'll need to do password and all of that good stuff to create your account. And then it allows you to do live streaming. So you can live stream your worship service on YouTube. Another church I know locally, they do it's kind of a hybrid live stream. So they record their full service like on Thursday, and then they upload that video into YouTube. And then I'm trying to remember what the term is that they use, but it's basically, it's Premiere. It's called Premiere. So they schedule it to premiere on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. So if I'm a member, I'm going to get a notification that, okay, Journey Church is going live. Or if I've subscribed to their YouTube page, I'll get a notification. And then when I click on, as far as I'm concerned, as I'm watching this, it'll say live. So I it looks like it's a live stream. And then, I can like it, I can comment on it. And best practice is somebody on the other end will be managing those comments and responding as well. So that's real high level of just, that's how you create an account. But the other thing about YouTube is, there's probably people who have degrees from YouTube because they study at the YouTube University. So you can go to YouTube to learn almost anything you want to learn. So, in fact, if we want to plug in here, how to use Canva. I've never searched it before, but boom, there it is. All of these Canva tutorials. How to use Constant Contact. All kinds of videos there.
So they got how to use Faith Lights.
I was wondering the same thing. So they do. So Faith Life has their own YouTube page, which you can subscribe to. But I'm sure that there are some users who have created some videos as well. All of these appear to be official Faith Life pages, but some of these are user created as well.
Oh, okay. I guess they got everything on there, huh?
It's going to be quite a bit of stuff. Absolutely. Okay. Other questions, comments, other things that you are using that you think other people should know about?
we've been dabbling around with Restream, and I'm still playing around with it so that we can stream to Facebook, and YouTube and other platforms. So one of the things though that I ran into though is our church's Facebook account is one of my sub accounts. And so if I want to use Restream, it's going to go to my main Facebook page versus the church's page that I set up.
So I haven't used Restream itself before, but I've used other systems to broadcast, like StreamYard. So you should be able to select, since your church page is a page that you manage, when you go into Restream, you should be able to select your church's page as the target for where that stream happens.
Yeah, I've tried a few times. I'm gonna try it again, but it seems like it's not a group. So I have a group page, then I have also the group page is private, but then the other page, which is our quote unquote public Facebook page, that's the one I'm trying to stream to, but it keeps picking my main page. So I don't know. I have to try it again. Otherwise, I have to create an all new page, which I really don't want to do, because then you lose your followers and all those other, perks that you have.
Absolutely. Have you gone to YouTube?
I did, but I don't remember it, giving me more information. Because one of the things that kind of led me to that, not throwing any other church out here, but I know that Messiah created another page, and I'm wondering because he uses Restream, so I'm wondering if that's why they did it.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I know they have a great Facebook presence. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they have to do for that.
Nice. I mean, I do like what Restream can do, because I don't want to be trying to go to a whole bunch of pages. So you can do Zoom, Facebook Live. I think you can even do LinkedIn and a couple others.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
So, I obviously haven't watched this yet, but this one says streaming to multiple Facebook pages using
Restream. Oh.
Streaming to multiple Facebook pages. It says plus Restream. I'm assuming it's using Restream, but so this might be one you want to check out.
I'll check it out. Thank you, sir.
Other recommendations? Questions?
I've tried this program called iMovie, but for Mac, because I have a Mac, but I've found out that you can actually record on that and you can upload that to YouTube. I don't know if it has Facebook on there, but I was just playing around with it and somebody told me about it. So like this Zoom meeting that we're on, because I was like using WeTransfer, but I'm like, okay, WeTransfer takes so much and you only have 7 days to use it. So I tried the other one, and you could edit your videos on there too. So the last one that we did, I edited it because of course, we had some pauses and stuff in there. So I edited that stuff out. And I did it on iMovie. I put the Zoom video in iMovie. I was able to edit it. Then I was able to upload the iMovie into we have a UCLC YouTube training account. I was able to put it in there, and I sent a link to a few people. So I was like, okay, that saved me a lot of trouble than trying to use the WeTransfer. So, and I found out you can actually record on iMovie too. and save your recording and send it where you want to send it. So I thought it was kind of, and it's a free program too.
Mhm. Nice. Okay, good. Others? Recommendations, questions, comments?
I can't believe Doretha hasn't said anything tonight.
I have a comment. I would just like to thank you all for this opportunity. I didn't know how to do Zoom. I've now set up Zoom. I'm doing Zoom meetings. I'm doing it with family. We're doing our family reunions, and I just really, really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. I was thinking about setting up a fan page, but you all talked about having to monitor that and all that. So I haven't done that yet. And I also wanted to say the recordings that you all have done. And I missed one class. It was on Facebook, I think, and I was able to go back and look at that. And that was real helpful.
Okay.
And also I appreciate Doretha, because if I didn't get it, I would go back and do a one-on-one with her. It's really been helpful. And I just appreciate it. And thank all of you. And good meeting the ones that I didn't know, Linda and all.
I'm gonna send you a application so you can become a member of the center. Cause your pastor and his wife are members of.
I know, and
so you can become a member and take advantage of some of the things. Even though we're doing everything on Zoom now, so I can put you on a regular our regular invite list.
You know, Dorothy, we should be losing weight with all of the in-person meetings we're missing with all that food that you.
I know that's what everybody missed. They miss all that food, but I'm glad that we don't have all that food, because that you just be tempted to eat and take food home. And I'm like, Lord, yeah, but I still miss it though. That was the big fun part about the center, the fellowship and the food. And I miss it. But one day when we get back together, we're gonna have a great big banquet. We're gonna just invite everybody to come on in, because that's gonna be just a day of rejoicing.
Yes, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We're gonna get there.
Yes. And Beulah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's a great testimony about how you're using these platforms yourself. And so maybe next year you'll teach the class.
Oh, right.
I want to thank you, Dallas, and you, Doretha. I just brag on you all the time at the with Hulu. He'd be like, "How it go? How's Doretha?" I said, "She is powerful," and Dallas, you are too. So I just want to thank you both for sharing with us. You guys have been awesome facilitators. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, this is so good, it's so good," and it is, because even though we're hosting it, I'm still a learner. I'm still a participant. So all this knowledge, I'm like Beulah. There, even though I've been using some of these things, I've learned how to use them better, and I can appreciate some of them much better than I've had before. So thank you both for just sharing with us and sharing your expertise. And we got your email, so if we ever got some questions, we know who to come to.
Awesome. Well, with that, we will wrap it up and get out on time. And thank you all. Let me close us in a quick prayer.
Amen.
God, again, we thank you for being with us in our conversation, Lord. We thank you that you will continue to be with us each day as you walk with us as our shepherd. Bless us tonight, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Good night, everybody. Take care.
All right. Good night.